Voiceless Voice, a new deck from Phantom Nightmare, is shaping up to be one of the decks of all time this format, with its tremendous showing at the most recent YCS. I am also very bad at lying. Despite the deck's poor performance in comparison to the expectations we had to it prior to the start of the format, I reckon it'll be the closest contender behind pure Snake Eye. Behind Snake Eye Fire King. Behind Branded. This deck doesn't even play the game. Alright, there might be better options in this format, but trust me when I tell you, this deck can play Yu-Gi-Oh! Voiceless Voice is a deck centered around light ritual monsters, and Lo, a level 1 fairy monster which on summon places a Voiceless Voice continuous spell and trap from your deck to your spell and trap zone, with Barrier being a Rota for the archetype while supplementing your monsters with target protection if you control Lo and a light ritual, and Radiance letting you summon any voiceless monster from your deck or destroy cards on the field up to the number of light rituals you control. With Lo being the primary focus in the deck, we want to maximize our chances of seeing it with Diviner of the Herald, which, when tributed, summons a level 1 fairy monster from the deck. So what's the payoff? Your boss monster, Skull Guardian, Protector of the Voiceless Voice, is an Omni-Negate while you control Lo, has 4100 attack while Lo is in the graveyard or field, and searches a Voiceless card on Ritual Summon. This search effect can access the additional engine of Voiceless Voice, such as Saphira, which you can discard from your hand to add a light ritual monster from your deck to your hand, as well as its in-graveyard effect to function as its own ritual spell, Saravis, which recycles spells in the graveyard to summon itself, in addition to cheating out the original Saravis from deck, and of course the in-archetype ritual spell. With the compact engine the deck has and the lack of restrictions on any of the cards, and the lack of extra deck, the deck can afford to slot in various engines such as the Dogmatica engine, which help get Herald of the Arclight or Garura in the graveyard for additional searching, or get to the shit all extra to access Schism into Winda. The Branded engine to add Mirror Jade and Rinbrum to the end board. They're summoning Jowgen off Sanctifier.
Why are all these floodgates? Why are all these floodgates?
With that out of the way, let's move on to the epic deck profile. Enjoy. Start off the deck list, we have 3 copies of Lo. This is your primary starter. You want to maximize on these as it'll get you to your Saphira, which will in turn get you to any ritual plays that you need for the deck. Your other starter will be 3 copies of Diviner. Either of these normal summons are fine to open. Diviner sends the Trias Hierarchia, tributed special Lo from deck. Additionally, you could also send Elder Entity Entis and Herald of the Arclight for just more like utility purposes. You want to see at least one of these in your starting hand. Either one is fine. I prefer opening Lo, however, because if you open a lot of gas, if you start your plays off with Diviner, you play pretty hard into Nibiru, but I doubt people will be siding Nibiru into this deck. We're going to be setting up the Diviner will be the Trias Hierarchia. Just Foolish this, quick effect, tributed, tributes the Diviner, and Diviner effect triggers to summon Lo from deck. We have 3 copies of Saphira and 1 Saravis. This card will get you ritual access as well as a way to... This acts as a second ritual summon from the deck. You discard it from your hand, search Skull Guardian or Odd Eyes Pendulum Graph Dragon or Saravis, any of those, and you could banish it from grave, and it's just a ritual summon, which you could use Lo as the entire material for. You play 1 Saravis because it's your, although it's a good extender, it recycles your non-engine spell cards. You don't want to see it in your opening hand by itself because it's not a starter. You want to summon it off your trap card ideally, or if you have enough gas where you have like 1 extra search, you're probably searching this. This acts as a way to get to Saravis, which is a summon a gate as well as a target protection for your board. And then for the monster non-engine, I just opted for 3 Nibiru. Nibiru just really good this format. Every deck plays into it for the most part besides Voiceless. So like in the mirror, you just side these out. However, these will be live like 99% of the time. It's good to see among other non-engine cards. For the rituals, we're on 2 Skull Guardian, 2 Ceravis, and 1 Odd Eyes Pendulum Graph Dragon. To play 5 rituals because I'd rather see a ritual in hand naturally. To play around cards like Droll Knockbird, which you'll see in the feature matches. You could opt to cut either the second Ceravis or the Odd Eyes Pendulum Graph Dragon. Pendulum Graph Dragon acts as a negate. However, if you want to like maximize on Ceravis, this also acts as target protection for your board. So like let's say like Imperm your low or Imperm your diviner, you could always pitch the Ceravis to protect it from the Imperm resolving. Your win con will be Skull Guardian, where it's on summon searches a voiceless card, which rarely you won't really need the search. It will probably just get you Ceravis. Additionally, it's a Omni negate if you have low on the field, which you'll get to on the opponent's turn after reborning it with Dynamondo, which I'll show in the combo. For spell cards, we're on 3 barrier. This card just Rhoda searches any voiceless and then makes your board untargetable. So going second into the Fire King board, you got this up. You got a ritual on board. Their interaction becomes extremely limited. And then 2 copies of the ritual spell. Ritual spell is nice to open, so you're basically playing a nice balance of 3 Saphira, 2 ritual spell, 5 rituals in main, 5 ritual spell cards. The floating effect comes up a bit only if they try like SP banish like your Skull Guardian or Garunix, Kieran Pop, stuff like that. This is primarily going to be used to dump off Saphira or just hard ritual summon something. So like if you have if you say have like a second ritual in hand, you could just use this use Skull Guardian to search this and then tribute the Reborn low to summon the second ritual, which will probably be like your Odd Eyes Pendulum Graph Dragon or your Ceravis. For consistency cards, I'm on 3 pre-prep and 2 Pot of Prosperity. After seeing those feature matches, I didn't want this deck bricking at all. So I didn't really do the math on it. I'm not sure how consistent 3 Prosby versus 2 Prosby is. This list is exactly 40. Pre-prep will do you the most. It's always going to be a +1. Gets you your ritual spell and Skull Guardian. Prosby will will help you see your board breakers post siding, as well as going first. You could start digging for your summon limit. I should be playing this at 3, however. I just didn't have a third one. But surely the math won't make too much of a difference. We're then on 3 enemy controller. This card synergizes very well with normal summon of diviner. Going second, if you go normal summon diviner effects, they chain a card to negate it, like Imperm Veiler, or like let's say they chain like Masquerena to negate whatever you send off the diviner. You go Econ, tribute the diviner, take their card, and it'll still trigger your diviner effect to summon low from deck, as well as resolving your affected dump. You have Entis to break boards, Herald to get an additional search. Very broken card. This is easily one of the best cards in the deck. Played at 3. This card's nice. 3 Super Poly. Super Poly is like just okay. I found that like even Super Polying the Fire King board, it's still like it's not as impactful as I initially thought it would be. It's still a very good card to break boards, however, it simplifies how many interactions you have to deal with. At most, you're going to be having to play through probably just Promethean Engrave and hand traps, which can be remedied by just summoning Mud Dragon if possible, breaking the board with like G-Golem at Ignister, which will show in the extra deck in a bit, and then just 1 call by. Good card. If you want to play a 3rd Prosby, I'd probably just cut the call by. Didn't really come up at all. For trap cards, we're on the 1 Radiance. This is the brick. You don't want to see this card ever. You want to just get it off low effect. The primary utility of this card is to get Ceravis from deck. Ceravis will summon other Ceravis, and you just get a summon negate on top of whatever board you had previously. There's also a pop on the opponent's turn. It destroys cards up to the number of light rituals you control, so it's also just, additional disruption if you've already established Ceravis. Good card. And then last non-engine is just 3 Imperm. Now for the extra deck, we have our Super Poly targets, Mud Dragon, G-Golem, and Garura. We have Mud Dragon for Ambler Whale and Flamberge Dragon, G-Golem Adignister for IP plus whatever link they end on, and Garura for every other matchup. This is just for Super Poly, chose the best targets to make it live. So Mud Dragon makes your board untargetable. It doesn't protect from Kieran effect, but it still, you know, protects you from effects like Skyburn, Promethean Princess, and other targeting effects that they might have, like Imperm, Veiler, Mourner. And then last card, Elder Entity Entis. This is just a dump for Diviner. If you ever need like a board breaker and you already have a way to tribute it with like Econ or you already have like some way to combo, just send Entis, pop a card on the field. Then we're on 1 Herald of the Arclight, just another send off the Diviner, and Odd Eyes Wing Dragon. It's just the highest attack monster you could summon off the Odd Eyes Pendulum Graph. Scale effect rarely comes up. You probably won't be scaling it ever. It's just a big beater that you could possibly link off for SP. You play 1 Link Rebo just to make SP live, as well as having a way to, later on in the game, have a way to tribute your low if it ever gets targeted by a card effect for its effect to resolve. Tribute the low, special summon Link Rebo, and anytime you ritual summon, low will just come back. Then we're on to Dynamondo. Dynamondo is the best card in the extra deck. Recycles your rituals, gets you to your trap card on the opponent's turn. Overall, what probably makes the deck work. Like, without Dynamondo, this deck would probably be like really bad. Not really bad, but you know, it'd be harder for the deck to access the trap card reliably. Dynamondo just enables that for free, which I'll show later. And then for Charmers, just Light and Dark Charmer. Light Charmer, you could use like Low Diviner. Dark Charmer, just summon Link Rebo. We play the Charmers because we're also on Selene and Access Code. I should probably get around to playing like a Veiler or main deck Joel, that way I have a target for Selene to Reborn. But at the end of the day, it's probably just going to act as a Link 3 to give Access Code like 1,000 more attack. That's really it. And then lastly, the Age of Overlord special, 1 Typhon, 1 SP. Cards are good, play them. Now for the sideboard, honestly, super generic, not really much going for it. 3 Phantasme and 3 Joel Mockbird. These are just what you're gonna be siding in for Fire King. Joel not as impactful. However, if you limit their board state, they lose to the other board breakers in the deck like Super Poly and Enemy Controller. Phantasme will just help you dig for the dig for your board breakers like Super Poly and Enemy Controller. Phantasme especially did crazy stuff. Well, not did, but does crazy stuff. And then, like I said in the Snake Eye profile, the Phantasme also helps versus Promethean Princess targeting effects. Just discard pitch 1, negate for free, and then it's also a 24 body that you could attack over Appa with if they burn a negate or immediately force out SP, and realistically anything. For spell cards, 3 Cosmic, 3 Droplet. I wasn't really a fan of Droplet. I thought Droplet would have been a little bit better, but I think I already had enough board removal. I probably should have put in Graveyard Hate like Foolish Return, DD Crow, or Soul Release. Yeah, not too much of a fan on Droplet. I didn't really have the advantage at any point to where Droplet did anything. This will probably just be Soul Release or Foolish Return, or it's just any form of Graveyard Hate. And lastly, for the fun card in the deck, 3 Summon Limit. Establish your board, flip Summon Limit. If they don't have a response, you basically just win on the spot. Just swing for 41 on your Skull Guardians and just FTK them. So, for the first combo, we're just going to show the 1 card low combo. Normal summon low, or if you have a Diviner, send Trias Hierarchy, attribute it, summon the low from deck. Low will get you to your barrier. Sets the barrier in the spell and trap zone. Activate the effect, search for the Saphira, activate the Saphira, sending your Praetors to the graveyard, and adding Skull Guardian, banishing the Saphira from your grave, attributing the low, special summon the Skull Guardian, low Chainlink 1, Skull Guardian Chainlink 2, reborning the low, and searching for either follow-up, or if you have a way to access a second ritual summon, your Odd Eyes Pendulum Graph Dragon. Now what we can do from here is link these two off for, where is it at? For Dynamondo, and this is your end board. Not threatening yet, but it's what you do on the opponent's turn. So on the opponent's turn, they draw for a turn, shotgun the Dynamondo. This will reborn your Skull Guardian from graveyard, and that'll trigger the low effect to reborn itself again. And on summon, this places another voiceless continuous spell or trap, so now this will get you to your barrier. Now your board is untargetable, and your Skull Guardian has an Omni Negate. So now what you do with the ritual that was added to your hand last turn, you could go Radiance Effects to shuffle this back into your deck, and summon Cerberus from your deck. Now when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can activate Cerberus, returning itself to the hand to special summon a vanilla the original Cerberus from deck. Original Cerberus summon negate, but on top of negating the summon, it also banishes the card. So they can't, let's say they just go like pitch a card, summon Diabellstar. You can then go Cerberus effect, negate the summon of the Diabellstar and banish it. That way they can't recur it with like Wanted, Celine, any of those cards. With that out of the way, let's move on to locals. Surely we can cook up something nice and maybe, you know, not lose to Fire King Snake Eye, ideally. I hope. But yeah, let's go on to locals. See you then. It's round 3 of locals. I'm currently 2-0, and my opponent rolls a 10, but I'm better, so I roll a 12. I start with pre-preparation of rights, as it gets me the most value if he doesn't have Droll. And luckily enough, he doesn't have the Droll regardless. I use Saphira to search for Cerberus to have a negate for Imperm, and Ritual summon out my Skull Guardian, tributing my other Skull Guardian in hand. I use Skull Guardian, searching low to get the other half of my Voiceless engine started. I tribute low for the ritual summon of my Odd Eyes Pendulum Graph Dragon, which is a spell negate that is also searchable by the effect of Saphira and Skull Guardian. I just so happened to hard draw because my hand had 4 ritual monsters in it. We then use Barrier to search for Cerberus, and special summoning the Cerberus by shuffling back our pre-prep and the ritual spell. We then do the Dynamondo line to get ourselves the continuous trap on the opponent's turn and set 1 and pass on this. But before that, they reveal they are playing Snake Eye Fire King. They go end of main phase Kieran to pop Poplar to place it in the spell and trap zone. However, this will trigger our Cerberus to special summon Ritual Cerberus from the deck. With that, we can finally pass turn. Now in their draw phase, we will activate Dynamondo to reborn our Skull Guardian, which in turn reborns the low to get the Radiance to the field. Opponent starts off with special summoning Diabellstar by sending the Poplar that was placed last turn, but because Diabellstar is a summon that occurs outside of a chain resolving, we can use Cerberus' effect to negate the summon and banish it. He then normal summons Snake Eye Oak to attempt to reborn the Poplar. I chain Skull Guardian to negate destroy. With resources exhausted, Fire King Island is activated in response to the effect of search. I chain Pendulum Graph Dragon to negate, and that's basically the end of game now. Game 2, my opponent opens up with Snake Eye Ash, and I'm looking at my hand with 0 interaction with the 1 of Ceravis and the 1 of Trap card, and he just goes full combo. With 1 Cosmic Cyclone to possibly try and pop the Fire King line when he tries to go for a game in a dream, I set 2 and pass. But, end of main, he goes IP effect to link summon into SP, and snipe my Cosmic Cyclone, and I no longer have any form of interaction. This game's over. Game 3, I opened the absolute stones of Saphira, Skull Guardian, Low, Droll Lockbird, and Super Poly. I lead with Low to try and get barrier on the field, and that means an infinite impermanence. I'll use Saphira's effect to search for Out Eyes Pendulum Graph Dragon, and on res they drolled me. In hindsight, the correct play might have been to Saphira effect, search for Ceravis to protect my Low from the Imperm, to at least get the continuous spell up to give my board target protection. Thankfully it didn't cost me the match, but it's something to look towards improving in the future, as I was a bit greedy trying to establish a spell negate when I might not have needed it. So I used Saphira to ritual summon Skull Guardian, reborning Low, making the Dynamondo, and passing on this, which is pretty good for being under Droll and getting hit with Imperm. In draw phase, I go Dynamondo to get the trap card, and hopefully he doesn't have enough gas to break the board. My opponent starts with an activation of Fire King Sanctuary, and in response, I activate Radiance, shuffling back my Out Eyes Pendulum Graph Dragon and summoning Ceravis from the deck. He activates his island, I respond with Ceravis to get Ritual Ceravis. He resolves it to pop Garunix and search Ponix. Ponix chainlink 1 to special itself, I chain Droll, and he chains Cross out for the Droll. At this point in the turn, I recognize that he is very limited on the resources with only 1 card in hand, so I hold the Skull Guardian negate for as long as possible, as he has not revealed to me thus far if he has Diabell Star, Snake Eye Ash, or Poplar. He moves to the battle phase, crashing his Ponix into my Skull Guardian, triggering Garunix in graveyard to summon itself and destroying a Kieran from deck. Kieran will reborn Ponix and destroy the Ceravis on my field, all during the damage step to bypass my Ritual Spell's graveyard effect to summon a Ritual Monster when my Ritual Monster leaves the field. In main phase 2, he goes Link Revo into SP Little Knight to banish my Skull Guardian, however this will trigger the graveyard effect of my Ritual Spell, allowing me to just summon another one from deck. With the last card in hand being a normal summon of Droll and Lockbird, I knew this game was effectively over. He goes into Princess, reborning the Kieran, which prompts a Super Poly, and that's that. Alright, Joey, break this board, bro. Break this board, bro. Break the... Yo, Joey.
Oh, main phase?
Joey, break that board, bro.
Saphira effect? Sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Where is it?
Yeah, because you hit that, and then you made my target with this guy.
Oh, Joey.
Oh, GG,
Joey.
you got it. Both of them?
Look at his hand, bro.
Full house. Fuck.
Getting that good stretch in. Love this cat. Damn, so ugly. I love you. The deck performed about as well as I expected. Hard drawing one of your ritual monsters really allows yourself to be insulated from Droll and Lockbird, and likely you aren't summoning enough to get into nib range unless you start with Diviner. Overall, the deck didn't exceed my expectations besides its ability to play through more hand traps than anticipated. Legacy of Destruction will give us 2 brand new cards to toy around with. However, that will very, very, very slightly increase the power of the deck. We're getting an unplayable ritual monster and a continuous spell that lets you ritual summon on the opponent's turn. But it's not like we have any good or funny targets for it anyway. Best case, it resummons the Ceravis you summoned prior that you bounce to hand. And we're definitely not going to play bad cards like Ritual Buster, alright? Card's garbage. Don't play this, please. Then another continuous trap was revealed recently, and it's also unplayably bad. Why does it only summon the original Skull Guardian? Why are we gaining attack? Why is this a trap card? The future of this deck is grim. I doubt this will ever be top 2, top 3, top 4 decks in a format, but I also see this deck having the longevity to be playable for the next couple of years or so. And who knows, maybe by the NAWC after the ban list we will definitely get sometime soon. It could be the best deck of the format. They just have to address these bum-ass stun cards.